What up brothers, it's Clipper King returning. Welcome back to my channel for another new review. Today I'll be reviewing the Hot Toys armoured version of Batman from Batman v Superman, the Dawn of Justice. I've recently reviewed the Nightmare version of Batman, so I might mention that. If you've not seen that review, please go across and check it out. I won't do a direct comparison because the simple reason is I don't have the Nightmare version any longer, so I'll be talking about this figure as a standalone, but I will also be picking up parts like the undersuit that you see, whether I think that will be the Batman outfit, what I prefer between this version and the Nightmare version, so on and so forth. So you will get a comprehensive review, you'll get all the scores like usual, and then you get me total thoughts. I will also pick up on the end on the is the figure for sale situation that I'm getting asked more and more. A lot of people know I've been able to get multiples of certain figures recently, so you know I'm not keeping them all. In fact, sometimes I don't even keep any. So there is sometimes some available, but obviously I get asked for a lot more than I can supply, so bear that in mind. I'll pick that up at the end of the review because I don't want to bore people who don't even want to buy this figure. So let's crack on and we'll talk about the packaging. So, as you see again, it's the shoebox style design for the BVS line with the sort of V shape in the middle, and then you've got the two-tone greys with the, looks like the Gotham city in the background. You see the bat signal lighting up the sky as I move down. The symbol, you've got Batman and Superman facing off. Then up here, a closer look at Batman with the eyes on his light. I know you can see my hand. Very reflective, the centre panel of this box. Then the bat signal with the small Batman just here looking up into the sky. As we move down, you see you've got the titles, Batman v Superman. And as I move away, you see it's Hot Toys Masterpiece series. So, moving masterpiece, should I say. Again, it is the sort of cut edge, easy to get on and off, and then the inlay slip again is sort of the Batman turned 3/4 with the lights on in the armor, and then the credits. Quite a nice box, but pretty standard. It's just a shoebox with the clam trays inside. Standard quality of card, nothing too eye-catching with this one, although I do like the fact that it's in theme with the Superman that we've already seen and also the Nightmare Batman. So for that reason, I'm going to score the packaging a 3 out of a possible 5. Now let's move on to the facial liners. And in this section I'm going to cover how the helmet works as regards to the light up eyes and also the interchangeable mouth plates. I'm going to try and get it nice and close like I did on the Nightmare version and tell you my total thoughts, because people are asking, is it as obviously Ben Affleck as the Nightmare version were? So to answer that question, what I would say is this: both faceplates are really good. Is it as instantly recognisable that it's Affleck under a mask? I would say probably not, but that don't mean it's bad. It isn't bad, it's certainly not bad, but I think it were more the expressions on the Nightmare version that were more instantly recognisable. I do like the expressions on this, but you never sort of think, yeah, that's definitely Affleck's mouth. Where there were a couple of the faceplates on the Nightmare version where, like I said, it were unmistakable. Now, where this does pick up marks is the style of the helmet and the paintwork and the sculpt of the helmet, because it really is stunning. I was talking to a guy who came down to collect one of the Batman figures the other day, and he said when this arrived he's pretty much expecting a Zod type figure, and I agreed. I thought, yeah, it probably is going to be very similar to Zod. In hand it's not, it's so much nicer, it feels better, the armour is better done. Zod's armour felt really organic, this feels very bulky, very tank-like, so to speak. And I will say that is one of the first things that strikes when you take it out of the box. It is a huge figure. I saw some pictures actually on a forum of a day where they showed it compared to the Mark 1 Iron Man. Now you think of the Mark 1 Iron Man, it's pretty much made of scrap metal. This just dwarfs it. It's just so much bigger, bulkier, taller. Everywhere you slice it, it's a bigger, more imposing looking figure. Now, let's go back to what I was saying about these faceplates. I'll try and get in nice and tight on them. So you can see the detail. What I will say as well, the paintwork is stunning, the sculpt is stunning, the appearance of the hair that you can see, the quality of the teeth and lips is just amazing. Moving up, I think the shape of the eyes is pretty good. I will say as well, the eyes through the viewfinder are looking like they're a shade of blue. They've got a blue tint, which I think is accurate, although in hand they just look very bright white, so the camera is doing it favours there. And then as you can see, the dent marks, the damage, the scratch on the armour just make it look really stunning. Let's move it to the side so you can have a good look at the depth of the head. Move out. I do like the nice short ears on the standard cowl, and on this armoured version tips its hat more than a little bit to the Dark Knight Returns, the animated movie. I've watched that, I do quite like it, and obviously that is one of the books that this film was based on. I also think it's with Death of Superman, they tried to cover parts of that as well. But that is why I like this armour and the Batman outfit altogether. They took it pretty much straight from that book, and the way I understand it is one of the most iconic Batman book graphic novels to date, so I understand why they did that. So let's get into changing the helmet around. I'll just show you the pose again before we do. Move out a bit. Got him in sort of boxing style pose. Bear in mind the articulation flaws on this figure, but I'm going to try and show you its maximum limits. But yep, just thought that would be a nice one so I could still get around the head sculpt. So I do like the more relaxed face plate, but now let's take the head off and show you how the eyes work and also how you swap the face plate. So firstly, the instruction manual tells you do just lift the head off. It is pretty easy to do. You can just sort of push it back on itself like so. I will show you at this point, the neck is just a fixed hard plastic piece, so I don't think you're ever going to damage that, but obviously I'll mention the articulation. There's no movement at all in that section of the neck. Looking at the helmet, and it is a right touch. Like I said, any angle does look imposing, does look very accurate, looks very, very metal. Now the switch for the lights, we'll talk about first, and the battery cover is at the back of the head. You can see it there, the screw, so you can zoom in a touch. The screw and the casing that holds the batteries, obviously they are in this one, and then the switch is there. So you just push the neck peg out of the way, turn the light off like so. I will say as well, when I first put batteries in on this, I actually clicked the switch forward and the lights didn't come on. You've really got to push it forward. It might work better now actually. Yeah. Right. It's a tiny switch like it always is, so be careful with it, but this one now does work very nicely. So there you see. It does look imposing with the lights on, but it also looks quite menacing with them off. To change the faceplate, firstly I'll show you. That is with the faceplate attached. That is what a faceplate looks like outside the helmet. So you see it does have the metal surround. That is the teeth gritted faceplate. It has a magnet at the top, and then it's just sort of that shape, how it fits in. Now to get it out, what you actually do is push your finger through. It's hard to do left-handed. Push your finger into the faceplate, and then sort of that slides out. It's easier than I'm making it look. I'm just very right-handed. That's that one out, and then to put that one back in, obviously you slide it up into position like, ooh, fucking hell, why am I not left-handed, or why can't I hold my camera left-handed? It's hard to do. But basically you shove it up into there, and I'm making it look fucking, I've done it, I've fucking done it, Hannah. Old school rules. So there you go, slides basically into a cutaway section, the magnet holds it in place and does look quite nice. So we'll leave the light off, but we'll pop that head back on. Again, it's just a matter of getting your neck peg central and pushing it down. It's actually harder to get on than it is to get off. The articulation on the neck is pretty good, simply down to the ball joint at the top, but like I said, the lower neck don't really articulate at all. So getting back in pose, see, faceplate swapped out. I'm going to give the likeness still a 5 out of 5. Like I said, it's not quite as good Affleck likeness as the Nightmare version and probably this regular version that's coming, but because of the strength of the helmet that they've done, it still bumps the likeness back up to a 5 and a possible 5. Now let's roll on to his outfit. Let's move around the figure. As you see, just got one foot down, got his arms raised pretty much as far as they'll go, down to the suit, and his elbow as tight as possible. And so his cape swinging around to this side. So let's talk outfit. Like I said, first thing you notice out the box, it's heavy, it's bulky, it's very imposing. If you think of, well, I'll show you a RoboCop compared to it in a minute, because that would probably be the closest. I couldn't compare it to an Iron Man because it's just so much bigger than an Iron Man. So I'm guessing that RoboCop is going to be pretty much the closest thing to it. Then I'll show you it compared to Superman, just so you get an idea. But like I said, just to describe the outfit, I'll start off by saying they've done stunning work, very accurate looking. As you see, everything's big and bulky, very tank-like, oversized. So you see, you've got the boot there, which does give good articulation because you've actually got a ball joint inside there. So it is split, as you can see, and then the recessed area is black, so it does look very nice. Moving up the shin section, again with the fins on the side, very reminiscent of the Dark Knight Returns, the cartoon, like I said. Then it has the sort of, it's all metallic, like a gunmetal grey, but then it has the black highlighted section sort of there. Then back into the grey for the knee pad, which does just open and close as the leg does. Moving up again, sort of the black in the recess, and then into the gunmetal grey thigh protector. The black highlighted sections here, which do work nicely. I will say as well, everything feels like it's fitted to the body, and that is what I'm guessing. Through the undersuit, I'm guessing that it's attached to the sections it's on, because nothing seems to be moving about independent of the body. Moving up, I will show you here. You have the pattern Batsu. Obviously, on the regular version, it would have sort of the black pants there, but on this, it's just like a catsuit underneath. But the texture and the feel of it is very nice. So that would be the closest look to what the leg section of the Batman will look like. Again, you do see that under the ribs, because the ribs sort of just float on the outfit there and there, or the rib armor, should I say. So you do see the suit underneath there and there. Moving up into the armpit section, you see it again, and then down under the gauntlet, obviously down the other arm, but going back to the armoured section. So it does have the cod piece, and I will say inside there's Velcro. It can be pulled away from the body for articulation purposes, but then it's got Velcro underneath, very similar to Darth Vader. The utility belt, again, doesn't really move around. Sometimes you get these armoured figures and the sections are sliding about on them, like your Predators and, like I said, the Zod, things like that. This doesn't. Everything feels very fixed. Moving up to the chest section. Before I talk about the chest section, it has the strap that goes over the shoulder, the buckle at the front, which does look nice, but I don't really understand what he has it for, because there's nothing attached to it unless he hangs his gun somewhere on it. But it doesn't tell you anything in the instruction manual. It's just pretty much there, and you have to keep repositioning it so it's not going over the face. Again, it rubs against side at cape, and it actually goes back and into the cape, which is pretty funny, because this one out of the box, the buckle was somewhere up there, which is not movie accurate, so you have to sort of rotate it inside the cape to bring it down to here. Like I say, it does look nice, nice use of material, but I don't understand why the actual figure had it, or the actual armour had it. Into the chest section, again you see the paintwork and the sculpt is really good, and then up into the front section of the shoulder, which have these clasps that hold the cape on. They are non-removable, so the instruction manual tells you. So it holds the cape like so. Now let's talk about the cape. The cape is a really thick sort of ribbed material. So it does hang really nice because there's weight to it, but it's not like a Tony May cape or any cape we've seen before. So it's very different feeling, very, if you listen to it. Yeah, bottom it is nice and frayed and weathered. It is pleated at the top, but to be honest, the pleats don't really stay in. Like I said, the belt section is down into there, and then it comes out at the back of the cape, and then down into that side under his arm. So yeah. Looking at the gloves are all sculpted and armoured, very bulky gloves, very hard to work with as well. When you try to get the gun in his hand, you realise that there's not much give in the gloves. If you think you're going to risk breaking your gun, warm your gloves up before you put the gun into the handle. I will cover that again in the accessories. Then into the gauntlet section, it is a separate piece. Sometimes when you're posing it, again, that will push the ball joint out. Not every time, but sometimes. 3 fins, signature Batman, and then down into this section. Right. So it sort of fits, and it's got a brace here, and then on the upper arm, it has this thing that wraps around his bicep. Underneath that, and under into the shoulder pad, it has this clasp. The instruction manuals tell you that that can be taken off of the underside of the shoulder pad, and if you look, if I can get some light in there, I'll do it from the other side. Very hard to show you. So like here, it will move independently of the shoulder pad, and it does help the articulation more so than I thought. You see, it's got a little hook just inside there that fits back down into that. So, and it's just attached with some material to the shoulder armour. One thing I will show you, another accurate part, the underside of the boot with the spikes, very accurate to the film and also the graphic novel it comes from. All that leading up into the helmet, which I have spoke about. So, what can I say about the outfit? It looks amazing. The shelf presence is outstanding, very epic look about it. I would be happy to keep this version, although before I bought it, I really didn't want it. This would have probably been my last choice of my Batman that I would have wanted. Seeing it in hand and getting it posed with Superman, I changed that a little bit. I think fucking hell, it would look pretty awesome in my collection. But I'm still sticking to my guns and still going for the regular Batman. I just hope it's not a disappointment when it gets here. Of course, the armour does hinder the articulation in places. I've pretty much covered the articulation as well, but I will talk about it a little bit more. But on the look of the outfit, I can't get it all other than a 5 out of a possible 5. So let's move on to articulation. I pretty much covered it, but it might be worth me going back over things. I do try and do it quickly. Like I said, the boots do move pretty nicely. There's good pivot and rock and rotation, simply down to the fact that it's just on an ankle ball joint. Up through the thigh, up through the shin, it's solid because of this hard section. The knees will bend to somewhere there, which isn't bad. Put that back down. Right, top of the legs. There is an hindrance, and I'll try and say it like this. It's not this part and this part going against this. It's not really that. What it is, to stop the suit getting all rucked up in there and looking a little bit unsightly and dipping into the recesses of the body, it's actually got a very squidgy feeling under the outfit. And it's not that it's like the body of the Nightmare Batman. It's like it has a suit on top of sort of really padded section, and that's all in there. So when you try to pose it too much into the splits or a kick, it's the squidgy suit inside there, the rubberized suit, that's stopping it, not the armour. If I show you, look at my finger, got a really squidgy arse, and it's that feeling material that goes right down there, right under, and then all the way down and through here, and it feels like onto the top of the leg. So it's pretty much, it feels like it's got an outfit like the DX12 Batman underneath this catsuit. That is how it feels. Cover that up. So there is indeed articulation in there. The upper body articulation is pretty much null and void. There's no rotation really, because all these plates would clash against each other. Again, the upper body does have that squidgy feel to it, like it has a catsuit, a fatsuit under the catsuit. So there is that. And then because of the bulk of the shoulder section, there's no crunch or back arch or anything like that. Top of the arms, again, I thought when I saw the figure it would be these shoulder plates that restrict it. It's not. They do detach, and they are supposed to detach. Now, again, the suit inside, it feels very squidgy, and like there's some kind of material that goes from the upper shoulder right into the chest. So you try and get a good rotation on the arm, and the suit's fighting against you. Not the armour, the suit. There's good ratchet articulation through the elbows, so that's why most pictures that we saw from the Hong Kong bloggers pretty much had the articulation through the arm, not really on the upper arm. It will go higher than that, but I feel like when I'm doing it, I'm forcing it to go. I'm sort of fighting against the undersuit. Lower neck, no articulation at all, but the head will move pretty freely down to the length of the neck peg inside the helmet. So you can get in some epic poses, but you've got to work. You've got to be an expert, basically. To get to get a natural pose is very easy. To get an extreme pose is going to be a little bit hard. What I'm going to do is, just to show it will do it, the instructions pretty much tell you to only go to about there with the articulation on the arms, and there with the legs, and then about, I think it's 70 degrees in the knees. What I'm going to try and do is see if I can get them arms any higher for you. Yeah, a lot higher, probably higher than any of the Hong Kong bloggers that I saw do any pictures. Right, best way to pose the arms is to pull them down by your side, rotate them upwards, and then turn them out. Because, like I said, the suit inside there, if you just try to lift them straight up, it will just pull them back down. But, like I said, that is pretty much as articulated as you're going to get it. Forget the rotation, forget the lower neck. The legs are pretty nice to say it's armoured. Bit of restriction here. So for that reason, on the articulation, I think it's only fair that I give it a 3 out of a possible 5. Before we move away from the body entirely, I just wanted to show you the 3 different versions of Batman. So here we've got the Bale Batman. As you can see, his feet are a lot higher than the armoured version. As we move up, you see, and the armoured version is pretty much behind him as well. As you see, it's just massive compared to it. This is pretty much like baby Batman compared. Obviously it's a different style suit, but I definitely think Affleck is bigger to start with, then chuck a load of armour on, and that's the effect you're going to get. Now looking at the Michael Keaton Batman from Batman Returns, the feet are slightly lower on the Batman Returns, but then this one is, the armoured one is definitely bigger, a lot more imposing than both. I'll show it with RoboCop and Superman next. So now looking at these, so look at difference. That's the die-cast RoboCop. The feet are about the same height. Obviously Batman has spiked boots where RoboCop's are flat, but the size difference is just very noticeable. Compare him to the Superman from the same movie, and again slightly bigger, a lot bulkier, but do look amazing together. Superman is slightly in front as well. Yep, it's a size comparison. Let's move on to the extras. Right, we'll move on to his extras and accessories. I'll probably also do value in this section as well. Let's show you the pose and talk about what he brings. So it brings his grenade launcher, which as you see is in this hand. I will say the hands are very stiff, like I said earlier in the review. It is a tip just to put one of the hands in warm water, soften it up, and it will go onto the handle of that. Don't risk breaking your launcher for the sake of the hand. Also, that also helps with the popping the hands on and off. They're very, very hard rubberized hands, these ones, so bear that in mind. See, he's got an hand holding a closed grenade as well here. He has the Batman v Superman style base, again nicely painted, the light catches it really nicely. Does have the armoured Batman name plaque, and inside there it does have the kickstand that will hold the emblem up if you choose to display it like that. If you did, I don't know where you would put Batman's feet, but it is an option. Moving up, it's got the single crutch cradle, and then obviously it has a screw at the back so you can adjust the height. Very nice, these. I think they also should have given Superman one of these, but they didn't. So nice diorama style base. The instruction manual, which is worth a read on this one, tells you what it will and won't do and how not to damage your figure. He's got an open grenade, as you can see. He's got the closed one and an opened one. Nicely done. The grapple hook, or the launcher, different style to the Batman ones we've seen before. Quite nicely done. And then as we move along his hands, you see he's got a right fist, a right sort of gesturing hand, so it's not the relaxed one. I don't know what he would hold with that, but he does have it. The relaxed right, again, look, very stiff feeling. Could have done with being a little bit softer those, but they're rock hard. And then a right hand for holding the grapple hook. Again, be very careful because it's very, very stiff hand. Warm the hand up, that's what I would say. Just warm it in a cup of boiling hot water and then put that in. You won't damage your paint because I've done it a million times and it never has. The interchangeable faceplate, which I've showed you earlier, very nice. I think of the two, I actually prefer that one, and I would say that one is more Affleck than the gritted teeth one. Spare set of wrist pegs, they are the big black ones, and then a spare left fist. Left hand wise, you also get a relaxed one. So not a lot of left, but a few right. Don't understand that. And that is the sum total of everything he brings. It doesn't look a lot on the shelf, I've got to be honest, but down to the way I score it now, what I've given it is a point for the stand, a point for the weapons, a point for the spare hands, and a point because you can interchange the face plates to give him a totally different look. It's like giving you a second portrait. If it would have given you a full-on Bruce Wayne head, then it would have got the total 5 out of 5, but it didn't. It only got a 4 out of a possible 5 for the extras. Value, right, we've all seen what these have done on eBay. They fucking shot up. It's come hot on heels of the Nightmare Batman, so the eBay sellers saw that they would pay £340 for the Nightmare one, so they were guessing that they'll pay the same for this. That is what they're forcing you to do. From my own situation, I'd got one of these sort of ordered a while back. Guys in Hong Kong know what I'm waiting for. I've paid for my Deadpool, I've ordered other stuff, Jokers, Batman, a lot of stuff coming. I'm always sort of step of the game, I've got to be, so I don't lose too much money. So I had got one of these ready to go. But because I'd managed to get so many of the exclusive Iron Men and Batman, the guy who sells to me said, if you want your Batman, it's this price. But if you want 2 shipped together, it's this price. And if you want 3 shipped together, it's this price. Gradually coming down in price. So it were a case that the more I could buy, the less I were getting mine for. So because I only rate mine as it stands, if I'm taking into account this is mine and I'm keeping it, I got really, really good value. The price, I ain't seen one lower and I ain't heard of one getting lower. I'm talking a proper low price. So for that reason, I would have scored it a 5 if it's just mine. Now, what I've also got to do now is, because I have ordered a few of these, I've now got to take into account that I know what the UK sellers are selling them for, what eBay's selling them for, what it would now cost you to go to Hong Kong for it, and I see the price is fucking extortionate, and that is a fact, and that's coming from a person who's probably going to sell 2 of these on. So what do? Do I lie to you and say, yeah, it's worth it? Or do I tell you the truth? I'm going to tell you the truth. Fuck it. This figure is not worth £300. It's not worth nowhere near. No figure is. Even the Nightmare Batman, as good as that weren't worth £340. This ain't worth £340. But on back of that, we all know I've got to make my money back. And if you want one, it's going to cost you for a big sum of money. So that I can't be no honest than that. If you want to come to me and say, Rick, hold on a minute, I want to haggle with you, and you've already just told me in your review that it's not worth that. Yeah, I did, but at the end of the day, I'm not going to sell it unless it's a price that interests me. So that answers that. So on the value, he don't bring a load. He is fucking awesome out of box. I can't state that enough. So on the value, let's just say that it's now worth more than it released for. So for that reason, I'm going to give the value a 3 out of a possible 5. I think a fucking shitload of people will want it, and I can understand why, because it is a total and utter beast. So 3 for value, 4 for extras, gives the figure a total of 23 out of a possible 30, which again is a really good score. Hot Toys are definitely showing this Batman vs Superman line a lot of love. I know the collector's frenzy for Batman in particular, probably more so than Superman. He's probably second only behind fucking Iron Man. Maybe Joker's up there as well. But they are showing it love, so it's not like they're releasing shit and expecting everybody to pay for it. So I think the figure got a really fair score, 23 out of a possible 30. Now, for those who are interested in buying one of these that I have to sell, you can now contact me. They are available. Yesterday I received about 20 offers with varying prices, down from about, somebody offered me 220, somebody offered me 300 and odd. So if you want to get involved, they're the prices I'm talking about. Put your offers in and I'll see what I can do. I ideally would like to sell them either tonight or tomorrow. So I'll just say that. But for now, this is Clipper King and I'm out of here.